Hello, welcome to Talking Good Game. We just finished Swansea City 4, West Ham 1. We're going to talk you through the highlights. There's quite a few of them. Unfortunately, it's pretty one-sided, and we're going to discuss where it went wrong. There's quite a lot of that to get through, though. Gonzo, it took them 8 minutes. Key, Ayew laid him off, done a little dummy on the edge of the box. His shot rolled into that far corner. Our keeper's unsighted, flat-footed, however you want to describe it.
Yeah, I think a bit of both. I think he was unsighted. Maybe a lack of a defensive midfielder there. Lanzini did actually try and get across to close him down, but he was wrong-footed. He was given the old drop of the shoulder, the misdirection by the goal scorer. So he was getting, by the time he'd sort of misdirected Lanzini, it was enough time for him to aim his shot, which was directed very well, not very powerful. I think it's hard to argue that a top keeper wouldn't have saved it, which I think they would have done. So, yeah, 1-0, as you say.
1-0 it was. In 16 minutes, Declan Rice saved the goal by clearing offline after a scramble. In the 20th minute, Winston Reid went off injured. Prior to this game, we sold Fonte, Collins and Ogbonna were injured. Now, Reid's Ogbonna had to play two fullbacks in this three of the centre-back positions. In the 32nd minute, though, Tom, it went from crap to even crapper. 2-0, key corner, Van der Horn header at the back post while Rice saved the goal earlier. He arguably cost us one here.
Yeah, that's the positives and negatives of having, an 18, 19-year-old like Declan Rice in your team. And to be fair to you, it was a fantastic block on the line of what he did, but obviously the negative side to that was the sloppy defending straight afterwards. And things he'll learn that with age, but it was just a rookie mistake allowing the defenders to come in front of him, and obviously at that point heads have dropped and it's 2-0.
2-0 at half-time, Gonzo. What was your thoughts at half-time? I know we did our show, but in theory, what was your thoughts over the whole first half performance?
Insipid, lackluster, lack of fight, lack of effort, second to every ball, second to every challenge. We also weren't very clever. I thought they were clever in the way that they fooled a referee who was quite crap, may I say, but not the reason that we lost. And I was expecting more of the same in the second half, which is exactly what we got.
Tom?
I was willing to let the 4-1 defeat to Liverpool to go, after last week. But then just to see that in the first half was probably the most abject, disgusting performance I've seen in an absolutely long time. We were just second to every ball. There was no fight. There was no effort. You knew what Swansea were about today. You know that they've been in an absolutely brilliant run of form. They've clicked right at the perfect time. They've had the momentum, and I just expected us to come out better. And obviously, as soon as that first goal goes in, as per usual, our heads have dropped. I thought the tactics were all wrong from Moyes. I thought that he should have, probably put Kouyaté back in defence just to give a bigger body back there. We had 4 fullbacks at any one point. I thought we were missing Mario midfield. I thought he should have come on instead of Byram. Just everything was wrong about that first half. It, like Gonzo said, lacklustre, abject, and just truly, truly, truly disgusting performance.
Everything was wrong with it. No player gave a shit today. Noble lost his head in the first half. Marko Arnautovic lost his head in the first half. Hernandez and Arnautovic barely got to touch the ball. At one point, I seen Arnautovic get the ball. The only option he had was to literally cross it all the way back to Zabaleta, who was playing right centre-back, who then had to head it because he was under pressure. And it was just bollocks. The players didn't want it enough today. Key's shot, yes, it rolled in. But he had all the time in the world. And at one point in the second half, he gets the ball 20 yards out. Bear in mind, he's just scored in the first half from an identical position. You think you'd run and close him down. He had about 4 touches. And now, granted, his shot wasn't good, but the whole first half was just awful. As Tom said, there was one of the worst first halves I've seen us play in a long, long time. And it's our shite recruitment policy coming back to bite us on the arse. And I think we deserve it, actually. When you're going to sell your centre-back outside the transfer window, thinking it's clever or something, because then you don't have to spend money. Whatever he was doing, I don't know. But there's no justification in it. And then we get 2 injuries today. Is it unlucky? Yes, it is. I felt a little bit sorry for Moyes that he loses 2 centre-backs in one go. And then he's only got 3 fit ones, well, 2 plus Aaron Creswell. And then 1 gets injured. But we're 1-0 down. A centre-back gets injured. This is where a manager gets a free card. You get a free pass. You can make a tactical change. You can go more attacking and blame the fact you had an injury. You can say, well, I had to do a sub. And like Tom said, you could have took on Mario, could have took on Antonio and put Kouyaté at the back. You could have switched to a flat back forward, but he didn't. He just stuck with what wasn't working. It made it even more lopsided by playing even more players out of position. It just baffled me that first half. Now, he took Antonio on at half-time for Patrice Evra, but what did he do? Still changed fuck all tactically. He just took out one and put another one in. you know, if it's not working in the first half, David Moyes, why do you think it's all of a sudden going to fucking start working in the second half? I don't get it. I just don't get how that's going to happen. But anyway, Gonzo, we only have to wait 3 minutes in the second half before it was game over. Ball comes in. Who wins the header? Of course, Andre Ayew. Gets saved by Adrian, hits someone in the face and falls to Andy King. His first start for Swansea. Gets his first goal for Swansea.
Yeah, it wasn't saved by Adrian at all. He freaking flapped it like that into Chicharito's face. I thought goalkeepers meant to catch the ball. Why can't they catch? Go on.
His camera save, doesn't he? Adrian's always like the camera save. If it's a...
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They can't just catch it. It wasn't coming at 1,000 miles an hour. It was not Roberto Carlos free kick coming at him. It was a ball coming at him at 10, 15 mile an hour. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's more of the same. It's just useless. I guess Joe Hart will be in for the next game because Adrian's conceded 8 goals or whatever in the last 2 games. Obviously, not all of them his fault. I felt a bit sorry for Rice in many respects because we wanted a young centre back in the middle. You want him to have an experienced partner next to him. Of course, that was denied him by injuries and everything else. So I thought there were times when Rice actually looked okay, but there were a couple of examples, particularly for the second goal, where you'd have to look at it and say it was his fault. 3-0 straight away, and we'd actually looked like we might be trying to come back into it. He looked like he'd got Moyes looked like he'd got a really good minute and a half out of the team at the start of that half, which was really good, really positive, wasn't it? So we got to look forward to that. Maybe work on a training ground and get a good 3 minutes out of him in the next game.
If you don't laugh, you'll fucking cry. I'm close to one of them anyway. 56 minutes though, Tom. Marko Naujic finally got his chance. This is what we're waiting for. Granted, it was 3-0 down, but a lovely ball in by Lanzini. Dummies 1, dummies 2. But then Fabianski does exactly the opposite of what Gonzo just spoke about with Adrian. He just catches it.
What can you say? To be honest with you, it's. I think he should have probably pulled the trigger 1 dummy earlier, and obviously aimed for the left-hand side. But he's taken 2 dummies. He's aimed it straight at the keeper. But like you said, Adrian has always loved that highlight reel save. He's always loved to dive a little bit, flashier than every other keeper. He always has to do something that makes him stand out and look an absolute tit from the rest of them. But it was just poor from Arnautovic. You'd expect, especially with somebody that has had confidence in the last couple of months, to sort of bury that. But I think his head had dropped and he knew that the game had gone at that point. But yeah, it was obviously Fabianski doing what our keeper couldn't do at the other end.
Well, it would have gave us a very, very slim chance, and we'd probably relied on David fucking Moyes actually making another substitution. 6 minutes later, it really was game over. It was final nail in the coffin. Tom, a certain player, I'm not going to say who it was because I always pick on him. A certain player went to clear the ball. Andre Ayew ran in between the player and the ball. He got kicked in the back of the legs, penalty, and his brother stepped up and converted it. I mean, it was just fucking... sums up our whole game, that, doesn't it? Just calamity, unawareness. Even when he gave away the penalty, he looked like he was smiling, to be honest. I thought he
laughed. I thought he laughed when he gave it away. Yeah, just sums up the afternoon. Nobody gave a toss really after the 3rd goal went in. Everything just heads dropped again, and it's just sloppy things. These are avoidable things. We were probably just a red card short of an absolute disaster an afternoon. But it's just there's no passion. No, nothing from any of the players, and obviously Kiyata, we pick on him, but he's just headless. He's a little headless chicken sometimes. He's just clueless. He just doesn't think. He's gone to clear the ball, and those long gangly legs get under Ayew. Obviously, he's probably expecting it. He probably knows what he's like from training with him for the last year. So it was just sloppy again from Kiyata, and it was just to be expected. I mean, I've heard Swansea hadn't had a penalty all season up until that point. Step in West Ham to change that, but just clueless at that point. There's just no other way of describing it. Absolutely clueless.
Yeah, we broke all sort of records this afternoon. Van der Hoorn got his 2nd goal in England. Key had only scored 1 goal since he scored at Upton Park. And this is the first time Swansea have scored 4 goals in a Premier League game since November 2016. The last time Andre Ayew played West Ham, they won 4-1. He's done it again. But Gonzo, 78 minutes, we finally got something to go way about. Antonio got his goal. And let's be fair, I thought it was well taken. He picks it out the air. It's not easy. Antonio is never, you don't attribute good control with Antonio anyway, but he does good control, especially when Chiatti and the Swansea defenders are up in front of him and miss it. Turns, gets his shot away, gets the goal. And you know something? It's 2 weeks, 2 goals for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, you alluded to the fact he came off the bench and scored against Liverpool. So he's come off the bench and scored today. So hopefully that's cemented his place on the bench for the Burnley game. So that, which is really good, isn't it? Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. We were delighted. Actually, I'll be fair. I ran back in the room when I heard. Because I'd stopped. Well, not stopped watching it, but I will go and make a cup of tea. It was hard watching, wasn't it? After they scored their 4th goal, you know, it was really hard, and that's us watching it on a screen. And when it actually cut to a bit with a few fans leaving, and as they were leaving, some of them were leaving, walking past the stairs. So one of the guys still stuck in his seats. One of the guys that comes down to our boats and was drinks on the boats. I just saw him there, still sat down, just shaking his head. When I see him next week, I'll tell him. But hard work. Yeah, hopefully Moyes will start to put a few more attacking players on the pitch in a system in which they can flourish for the next few games, because it was tactically very, very poor.
Gonzo, where's Hugo? We signed Hugo, right? We sold Ayew to Swansea and we signed Hugo. We've barely seen him. Even today, we're 3-0 down, 4-0 down. He's still just sitting on the bench. Why we bought him?
We bought him because it was getting to the end of the transfer window. We had made a whopping great profit in player trading, and I don't think they thought that we could get to the end of the transfer window without buying somebody. I think it was a political manoeuvre. I don't think there's any desire to play Hugo in the team. I don't think there's a place for him. The one suggestion might have been that he was Andy Carroll's replacement for when Andy Carroll is injured, which is basically all the time. So that's just a permanent striker, really. So if that was the case, he would have played more. He hasn't played more. I don't believe the £10 million fee. I think it's probably $5 million up front with the rest on add-ons if we qualify. They probably believed all the stuff about us qualifying for the Champions League, a bit of big clubs. So they probably agreed to an extra $6 million in bolt-ons or whatever. I think he's probably cheap in wages. I think they just made a signing. We were sort of light on strikers, as it turned out. Lanzini's come back, Arnautovic has come back, Antonio's come back, Chicharito scored a few goals. So it looks like we probably won't need him. I feel a bit sorry for him, to be fair.
I feel sorry for him. He's been mucked right off by us. We've signed him. David Moyes in January transfer window got asked where the players are. And he said, I'm only going to buy players who's going to be in the first 11, etc. The one player he did actually buy is nowhere to be seen. He's sitting on the bench. He's not getting on. And you just mentioned strikers there, Gonzo. You've named 4 players. 3 of them aren't actually strikers. That sums up this whole thing. I think today summarises our bad transfer dealings. Font, Ayew, Hugo, and no centre midfielder, because Chiatti is still playing. And the reason he's playing by default, David Moyes can't drop him. He's got no other players. Because, yeah, I know someone will say you can put Mario in, but that is way too attacking to have Mario, Lanzini, Arnautovic, and Hernandez. It's too attacking. Mark Noble would be left out to dry. Yeah, okay, you can maybe put Zabaleta in there and buy him right wing back. That's just more players out of position. It just sums up the crap that we had to go through in January, and it's coming back to bite us in the arse. Tom, where's it going wrong today? We're now 3 points ahead of 18th place, who's Crystal Palace, who play on Monday evening. So come Tuesday morning, I don't know what the difference is between us and 17th, 16th or whatever, or maybe we are 16th. I don't know, but Swansea overtook us today. But where's it gone wrong, Tom?
I just thought we were far too negative. Like I said at the start of the show, I think it was a question of we knew what this game was going to be. It was a tasty game. It was going to be a feisty one. You know, this is 9 games to go left, or 10 before the start of the game. You know, this was relegation rivals. This was a massive 6-pointer. And Swansea and Carlos Carvalhal had the team playing exactly how you should have been playing in a game like that. The players were up for it, especially on Swansea's side of the ball. The fans were up for it, and they were right behind the team. And I just thought we came out far too, defensive-minded. I would never have started 5 at the back. I would have probably looked to have gone 4 at the back here. Maybe played Mario, have 3 in midfield and 3 up front, or the same 3 except taking out Evra and having in a Mario in midfield. I just think, like I said, I think Moyes got his tactics all wrong. And this is the thing: that the shell of our team, they've got this thing when we go 1-0 down, the heads just drop, and it becomes almost. That's it for them. They see there's no way back into the game. And it was some ridiculous stat as well that the commentator popped out that after we've been 2-0 down in Premier League history, I think we've lost 76 odd games and only drawn 2. And it's not inhuman to come back from 2-0 down. It can be done. It can be done. But it's just the fight that our players put in is just to almost try and come back in a game like that. It's just disgusting. And I just think, like I said, I know it's been a bad day at the office, but this is we've lost to a relegation rival, and I think it's just the way that we've lost. And like I said, I was willing to let the Liverpool performance go, but we're not just getting beat by teams around us by 1 or 2 goals. We're getting fucking hammered. We're getting smashed by these teams. We're talking Newcastle, Brighton, Bournemouth. These teams are putting 3 or 4 goals past us easily. We've got one of the worst defences in the Premier League. You know, on our day, we can barely score sometimes. It's just, there are so many leaks and worries and everything in this team. It frustrates you, but it also worries you. You know, when we look at our next 7 to 8 fixtures, we've still got to play Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester, Everton, Man United and City. You know, we're right back in the thick of this relegation thing. And that was why today was such a massive game. And I'm absolutely shocked to see the reaction that the players gave on the pitch today, because I just think it was absolutely disgusting. And obviously now Burnley again next week becomes another 6-pointer. Every game for us now, we've got to be looking to get a result from, because every other team around us is at least showing the fight that they want to pick it up. And I think we might have even peaked too soon, because like I said, Swansea have come into form bang on the right time. They're climbing the table well. It looks like we've peaked too soon and we've just completely withered out. And like you said, I cannot believe for a second that the board have decided to sell another defender after the transfer window's closed. That's absolutely ridiculous that they would have done something like that. And you know, it just shows, again, like you said, as to our poor recruitment policy and letting players go. But yeah, I'm just absolutely, from top down, disgusted players and managers today.
Gonzo, everyone's talking about the beast from the east, but today was the beast from Swansea. Andre Ayew, we gave them to him for 20 million. I don't think I've seen any West Ham fan, to be honest, said that's a fantastic deal selling to. Everybody said, why are you selling to a relegation rival? And today we're asking that question once again. He ran riot out there. I think he had a hand in every goal except the second one.
Yeah, well, did you put your trust in him? You put your faith in him, and you give him a position on the pitch that he's suited to. You don't make him a winger, for instance. You give him a free role. You also put players around him that want to play football, and I think he was happy with that. It's always difficult, I think, in our team for anyone that wants to play football. Lanzini saying in the week that he was really pleased to have Marko Arnautovic in the team, because he'd sort of missed Payet and it was a similar sort of player there. You can look at individual players that he's picking out, but what he's really saying is it's somebody else that can pass and move. Not too much of that today, of course, but I do think a large part of our defensive frailties and a large part of our attacking frailties was due to the fact that we really didn't have a midfield to either protect the back, however many it was, or a midfield to supply the people up front. And people like Ayew and his brother were just able to run amok, and they controlled the possession, they controlled the action areas of the pitch, and he did play very, very well.
Tom, last player we'll talk about, Hernandez. He was in form. He got dropped last week. Today, have we basically just ruined Hernandez's confidence, or do you think he was just a bit crap like everyone else?
No, massively. I think, you know, I said last week, there's no way on form that he should have been dropped for that Liverpool game. I couldn't actually believe it when I saw the team sheet that he had been dropped. And we've clearly seen that this season he is a player that feeds off confidence. So that would have been massive for him to be dropped last week, especially in a big game like Liverpool. The players like Hernandez, Arnautovic, Lanzini, they want a performance against the top opponents like that. So I think it was an absolute daft and ridiculous move by Moyes to drop him last week, and it showed this week. And you know, his service today was poor. The gap between the midfield and Arnautovic and the service that Lanzini was getting, he had to come so deep to even try and get the ball, Lanzini, at times. And it was just all over the place. But, you know, as for Hernandez, you can clearly see the boy feeds off of that confidence, and there was just none of that today whatsoever.
Tom, would you like to just round up your thoughts on the game, etc.? Give us your final thoughts, please.
But like, I can only, you know, echo what Gonzo has said, and that was the fact that I thought the Ayew brothers were fantastic today. I thought they worked their bloody socks off. Andre Ayew showed us what we were missing, and we lost in the transfer window by getting rid of him. I thought that Klukas and Key were brilliant in that centre midfield, and you know, I'm shocked that in such a short space of time, I honestly thought that Carlos Carvajal would have, you know, he wouldn't have had that effect on the Premier League. I thought he was poor at times at Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously, I lived in Sheffield for a couple of years, and I saw a few Wednesday games, and I thought, no, there's no way that he's going to be able to cut it in the Premier League. But he's got that side regimented and playing for him, and playing well. And I thought they were absolutely superb today. But I make no bones about it, we were shocking. And it's back to the drawing board again. But how can you go back to the drawing board with only 9 games to go? You know, we're in the thick of it now, and it's going to be an interesting few weeks, and probably one that we're going to be hoping for other results to go our way, because it's going to be quite a high points tally, I think, that we're going to have to get to even stand any chance of surviving this season. So, yeah, you know, fair play. We move on to Burnley next week, but obviously, I don't think that the majority of the fans are going to be looking at the Burnley game next week. It's going to be, obviously, the focus will be on what happens with the March and that. So, you know, it's bad times about West Ham all over again. It's just sad to see.
Gonzo, what's your final thoughts?
Well, we can't go back to the drawing board because it was auctioned off when we left the Bowl Inn. We've got a striker playing, well, we say Arnautovic is a striker. Crikey, you know, he was caught offside so many times. I thought he wanted to be the Swansea goalkeeper. They had Clucas, we were clueless, and we got a left back who's very, very good at doing Instagram videos, but he's older than David Gold. It's an absolute sham at West Ham at the moment. I'm extremely worried.
Hey, Gonzo, you're smashing out some decent jokes on this show. It's the funniest. Clucas and Clueless, and left auction off the drawing board. I'll give you them. These are quite good. It's the only good thing about today, unfortunately. We were crap. We just didn't want it. None of those players. The only player that can hold their head up high today is Antonio. He came off the bench. He gave 100%. He got his goal. He wore his heart on his sleeve, and he starts next week. The question is, Tom's right. We go back to the drawing board, but how can we? We've got no players. How is he meant to reshuffle his back three? He's got no other players to bring in. How is he meant? He's got to. If he's looking at Evra thinking you're playing crap, I'm going to drop you. He's got to put Creswell there. But then who comes in at centre back to replace him? There's nobody. He's got no options. Chiati is awful once again, but he can't drop him. There's no one to replace him. It's just. The whole thing is just really worrying. But today, the players, David Moyes has had a battering on this show, and rightly so, but those players as well really have to take some responsibility today, because it's all very well Moyes picking a system, etc., but Swansea just wanted it more. They were much better than us today. They were fantastic. Take nothing away from Swansea. They were brilliant. They got it spot on. But our players went hiding today. Zero responsibility on that pitch. None of them wanted. Every time we conceded, everybody just went, Rrr. You know, I don't want to see fighting among the team. I want to see someone saying, "Oh, what the hell are you doing here?" No, none of that, though. They're all just looking at each other. He's fucking walking about laughing that he conceded a penalty. You know, it's just, things are really bad at West Ham just now. Not just off the... Everyone knows about our problems off the pitch, but today is just showing us how much problems we've got on the bloody pitch as well. We can't relax at all. Relegation is just over our shoulder. Tom mentioned a stat earlier. He was right. He got the stat right about being 2-0 down. But another stat from earlier today, Burnley went 1-0 down, our next opponents, against Everton. And until today, they'd never, ever come from a goal down in Premier League under Sean Dyson won. They'd drawn something like 5 and lost 40 of them or something. They've won today. Those boys have got a morale boost ahead of next week. They're breathing down Arsenal's necks. They've got something to play. They're playing for Europe now. They're not by any means got nothing to play for. They're no longer dead rubber, as you call it. They've got something to play for. I'll tell you what, I'm not looking forward to Burnley at all. I don't think you guys will either. But anyway, drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. And there's a video on your screen right now, which, funny enough, is quite topical. We're looking at the defender that's just left, and that's Ozzy Fond. We're asking, was he underrated at West Ham? He was also probably fucking needed as well. But anyway, we sold him. Click on that. You'll see stats. You'll see the finances to it as well. And we'll be back with a few more videos this week as well. Subscribe if you're new. That's been Gonzo. That's been Tom. I've been Joe. We've been Hammer Chat. We'll catch you in a bit.